Hell no. 22% house edge, required line bet, thanks but no thanks. But that's just me. You do you. Hey there, it's John from ProCraps. I want to spend some time here talking with you about the ATS, or what we call bonus craps. This is like any side bet in any game in the casino. It certainly doesn't favor you. It wouldn't be there if it did favor you, but a lot of people in craps especially really rely on this bet as kind of like their way of winning. And I see a ton of posts in Facebook and everywhere else, all this chip porn. I won all this money because so-and-so hit the bonus or so-and-so hit the all. We've kind of lost track of like winning at actual craps. We're relying on this ATS bonus side bet. I want to dig in a little bit today and give you some of the reasons why I think not only is it not a good bet, it's probably one of the worst bets you can make over time. This thing is a killer for your bankroll, even given the times that you win a big chunk from it. Let's take a look how the bonus bet works and where I think some of the pitfalls of it are. The way this bet works, if you don't already know, is you can place a wager on one of three options, or all three of them if you like. One is going to be the all small, which is basically saying that the shooter is going to roll the 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, all of those before a 7. The all tall is the opposite side of that, where they're going to roll the 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 all before the 7. And of course, the all tall, make them all, they call it, is they roll all the numbers, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, all before the 7. It's tall order. You can see here the probabilities are rough, right? About 1 in 38, 39 or so chance of rolling the tall or the small, and about a 1 in 192, basically 1 out of 200 shooters can make the all. It's a pretty tall order, to get this thing done. And that's why it's an enticing bet, because the payouts are so enormous. It's very alluring, right? And a lot of people think that this is the way to make that extra bank at the craps table. Okay, so it's a tough bet to win, but look at the original payouts here, right? When this bonus game first came out, it paid 175 to 1 for the make 'em all and 35 to 1 for the tall or the small side. Not a bad payout. It's actually about a 7% or so house edge here. And the good thing about the originals was that you could basically hop size the bets. You can bet them for $1, right? Depending on your table minimum. If it was a $15 below table, you can bet them for $1 each. Hop bet size. And also it was a free bet. You can decide to make it or not make it just on its own, okay? The trouble is this, right? With anything else in the casino, they start to make things worse the more things get popular. The newer version of the ATS now pays 150 to 1 on the tall or on the all, and it pays 30 to 1 on the tall or the small. That is an enormous screw job, right? The house edge goes from a little bit over 7 to now over 22% on those bets. It's brutal, right? A lot of casinos now are requiring a $5 minimum, no matter what the table minimum is, $5 minimum on those bets. And some casinos now are requiring a line bet along with it. This is the big screw job, right? Besides the fact that it's already hard enough to hit, they've lowered the payouts, increased the house edge, forcing a higher minimum bet on it, and in some cases, requiring a line bet. Now, why would they require a line bet? I'm going to dig into that here in a minute. You won't believe the numbers when you see what a line bet addition to this thing does to that bet. Let's take a look at just how devastating this bet actually is. So, reminder, it's hard to hit it, right? You've got about a 1 in 39 or so chance to hit the tall or the small for a 30 to 1 payout, okay? The all is even worse, right? You got about a 1 in 200 chance or thereabouts of getting that bet to hit for a 150 to 1 payout. The house edge on those bets is over 20% now. That's brutal. But here's the worst part about it. It's the missed opportunity on the come out roll. Most of you are now playing your pass line, let's say it's $15, and a 555 ATS. Come out winner, which is the best part of the pass line. Let's be honest, the best part of the pass line is that come out winner. You're basically a 2 to 1 favorite down there to win that bet on that one roll. Of course, you can stack odds on it later, but honestly, that opportunity to win on the come out is eaten up by your ATS bet, because you lose the ATS on a 7, right? $15 down here, 555 up here, come out 7, you lose the ATS, you win your pass line, you replace the bet, you won nothing. You won nothing. And guess what? Casinos are now requiring that you place a pass line bet if you're going to play the ATS. That's a new requirement. Not everywhere, but it's coming. It's coming all around the country now. A required pass line bet to play the ATS. Why do you think that is? Because they know they're guaranteeing themselves a tie on the most common thing that's going to happen, which is that come out winner. Can you imagine that we're getting sucked into that thing? Remember that, right? And casinos now are also raising that limit. It's not just $1 up top. You got to put $5 minimum on some of these, in most casinos now, on the ATS. $5 minimum bet on the ATS. You're going to have to cover that with a pass line bet, and there goes your opportunity. And to add insult to injury, you have this problem, this double jeopardy. When you lose your point, when you set a point, or somebody sets a point, you got your pass line bet, you got your ATS up there, and they 7 out, you're losing twice. You're not just losing that pass line bet, you're losing your ATS. Now, of course, you have other bets out there too, but the casinos locked it up. They've locked up a double loss for you. Pass line plus ATS, especially when they require the line bet, right? So not only are you not winning on those come out 7s, you're now losing double at least on the 7 outs. I'm telling you, it's an atrocity what's happening to you. I want to go here and show you a little spreadsheet. I want to dive in and run some numbers with you and show you the effects of all that, what that really looks like in terms of numbers. And we can even mess around with different pay levels too, but let's go ahead and take a look at it with actual numbers, and hopefully that'll hammer some of this home for you. Let's take a deep dive here into the ATS payouts and expectations. I really want you to see kind of in spreadsheet format how devastating the bet actually is for you. So what I've done here is I've logged about 5,000 or so rolls. It's about 900 shooters, thereabouts. And what I've got here is my actual number so you can see things, okay? So in the 900 shooters, in the 5,000 rolls, I had about 213 come out 7s. Now with that amount of rolls, we would have expected 224, so I'm close enough, right? I had 200 come out horns, should have had 224. Again, we're close enough to where we can call this basically random, okay? I made 376 points, should have made 372. I 7'd out 554 times, should have been 558. So again, we're within 4 or so of random. This is good enough to get the numbers right. Now, in that amount of shooters, given a 2.6% expectation of hitting the small and the tall, and a 0.5% of the all, what I should have thrown in 900 shooters, okay, was about 14.5 or so smalls, okay? Let's round it up and say we threw 15. Let's round it up and say we did 15 talls. And let's round up and say we did 3 alls. Let's just say we were basically right on the money with what you expect to see, okay? What happens, and we'll even put this at the good payout, 35 to 1, 35 to 1, and 175 to 1. What happens when we bet this out? I want you to look at these columns here. Let's say I bet 5, 5, 5 on the ATS, which a lot of people do. And I do a $15 pass line bet. Now look at what happens here. Let's go through all the columns, okay? The first column is this, the ATS and the pass line together, okay? When you're playing the pass line, okay, you're gonna have these come out winners do nothing for you because you're gonna lose the 15, you're gonna win 15, and they basically cancel out. So it's a zero sum for you, okay? You'll still lose on the horns. No getting around that. So your pass line burns on the horns. You get nothing for the come out 7s. Look at the player here, pass line without ATS, the baseline guy. He loses on the 7s, or he wins on the 7s, he loses on the horns. He's actually a little bit of ahead of the game here, right? This player gets this little bit of an advantage here. You are straight up losing on those horns, which kind of sucks. Now, on the points made, of course, you make the money. On the points missed, though, look at how much you lose in the points missed, please. You lose double. The regular pass line player is losing, of course, $15 every time he misses a point. You're losing double that because you're losing both the pass line and your ATS bet. Now, again, other bets you have notwithstanding, this is just these 2 bets in isolation. You're losing double. You're losing double the amount of money when you 7 out. If you hit the tall, small, and all, okay, let's say you hit them on expectation, it's $2,600 per, you're losing $6K. And again, I'm taking every other bet out of it. You might make all this money on the other rolls. That's not the case. We're looking at just the ATS and pass line in isolation because those are the bets that are tied together for most people. So make them both, you lose $6,000. You do the ATS all by itself, you lose about half, right? You're not suffering the double loss here. You are getting burned on the come out 7s now, but you're not suffering double loss. That's why you lose less, okay? The player who doesn't play the ATS at all, just plays the pass line, still loses money, but not to the same degree as everybody else does. That's a pretty interesting thing. Now look at this. Watch the number here. Watch the $6,000 number. If I change this to the new payouts, 30, 30, and 150, oof, we go to $7,200 in losses, right? Not winning 2,650 or whatever that was. That's a big difference, man. That's like $1,000 in difference. That's awful. Now, I'm going to give you my actual numbers because I didn't throw average. I didn't throw what I was expected to throw. What I actually threw here was 18 smalls in these 5,000 rolls. I actually threw 23 talls, which are 23 talls, which is amazing, almost double. And I threw 5 alls, right? I overexceeded all 3 of them. Still lost potentially $4,000. Okay, what if, and that's me, right? I'm not the greatest shooter, but I still did better than I should have done on all 3 counts. What if I had an actual advantage? What if I was a pure, like real dice influencer, and I was able to get 28, and 6, like doubled all 3 of them. Double what you're supposed to get. We still lose $1,000. You're still losing $1,000, right? You make money if you can play without the pass line, which is impossible because you're betting on yourself. You can't not play the pass line, right? That's the only way to make money at it. Now you can simulate this, right? By betting a pass line of 15, and if I doubled them to 10, 10, and 10, which effectively is playing the ATS without the pass line, you finally get into the black. If you double what you're supposed to do, you bet the ATS higher than your pass line, they can become a net winner for you over the course of time. But again, those pass line losers are a bear to overcome, aren't they? It's just, it's can't even put it into words how devastating that is. When you see the casinos requiring 5s like they do, and they require a pass line at least the same size as your ATS, folks, this is why. This is why. Even if you do double duty, you're still guaranteed to lose. Some bean counter in some casino went, oh my God, look what we can do to these people. Look what we can do to them, right? If they're on target, holy crap, that is an ATM machine. The ATS is an ATM for the casinos, no question about it. This is not a bleed of your bankroll. I used to say the ATS was a bleed. It's not a bleed. This is hemorrhaging money. This is giving up mortgage payments. This is not small money we're talking about. This is enormous money that we're giving up. And again, they are paying you less than they should, than they used to. They're requiring more than they used to, and they're requiring a backup bet, which they never did before. The 3 of those things combined will lead you into the red. Now you can, again, alter your bet sizing. You can go, 5, you can go like, I don't know, 10, 10 and 5. You can change things around. You can go 5, 5 and 10 and try and change things up. But no matter what you do here, you're going to be in the red. You're going to be in the red all the time, folks, unless you hit this thing, I guess maybe 3 to 1. I don't know. There it is. That's a spreadsheet, guys. I'm going to give you a copy of this. I want you to play with this. Put your own numbers in, please. Log your own practice rolls in and see what you actually produce as a shooter. Log in your actual bets and see what your actual bets produce over time. If your number is big and red, you got to run, not walk away from that bet. Trust me. If it's there on the table and it's taking up the kind of real estate that it does, it is not good for you. And this, I think, bears that out. And I think when you put your own numbers in there, hopefully it'll shed some light on your play at the table. So again, I'll make the spreadsheet available to you, and there it is. Let's go recap what we know. So is it a sucker bet? I don't know if it's a sucker bet, but it's a bad bet for sure. That negative EV is enormous. And you saw in that spreadsheet just how devastating it can be, right? There's not one scenario, unless you're doubling up the number of times you hit each of those things with a different bet size, that you can ever make money in the long term. Sure, there's going to be times where you hit something else and you jack those bets up and you happen to catch a big one. That's cool. That's where some of the chip horn that we see comes from. But by and large, that thing is a bleed, and it's not a small bleed. As you can see, it was a huge bleed on your bankroll. My advice, stay away from it. The game is only getting worse, right? They moved us from 175 to 150 to 1, from 35 to 1 to 30 to 1. That's not a small change. That's a 7% house edge to an over 20% house edge difference. That's theft. That's highway robbery for you, what they did there. They're making the minimum bets 5, 5, and 5. Right? You can't just bleed in there with $1 here and there with some extra money. You got to go $15 every single time now on the shooters. And if you're going to play it, in a lot of cases, you have to bet the pass line. That spreadsheet should show you why, right? That pass line bet that hedges off that ATS, that thing is a cash machine for the casinos. That is a new ATM machine for them. And you saw that in the spreadsheet. And even though when you're doubling what you're supposed to get on the ATS, if you're doubling the number of times you hit each one of those things, they still make money on it. It's such a bad bet, you got to stay away. I don't care about the chip porn that you see. I don't care the once in a while you make something huge. Over time, that's a gusher. That thing is, you're just giving it away. Please, please, please. I implore you to stay off that bet. I think it's one of the worst bets. Now it's the worst bet. It used to be a fun side bet when it was $1, right? And you had the option of playing the pass line and it was 175 to 1. Yeah, I could see it. Now, hell no. 22% house edge, required line bet. Thanks, but no thanks. But that's just me. You do you. I'll give you a link to the spreadsheet. Run your own numbers. Put your own practice numbers in there. Put your bet sizing in there and see what it's going to produce for you over the long term. That's the only way for you to really kind of make a good decision. So I'll link that to you here in the description. And that's all I've got for you in this episode. Thanks for watching. If you've got comments, ideas, suggestions, whatever, comments, use the comment section. Use our Discord. Go to casinogaming.tv and jump into our Discord. Pretty active community over there. We'll talk to you all day long about this kind of stuff. Please jump in and engage. Love the community. Love the fact that you're subscribing and watching. I appreciate you more than you know. With that said, God bless you. See you in the next one. Thanks. This is John from ProCraps. Bye.